Back to school soon. The UCP government poised to end the teachers' strike. A sharp increase in need at the food bank.
We can't continue to support this number of people as a society. Something needs to change.
And many of the clients have jobs. And fancy fonts.
As I met people in the calligraphy world, it just sucked me in.
Finding community in calligraphy.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Lethbridge viewers. The province was hoping for a quick end to the teacher strike today, but nearly 3 hours after the start of the legislature, the bill still hasn't been tabled. Kevin Green joins us with the latest on this. So, Kevin, what's with the delay?
Ian, the opposition NDP is doing everything it can to slow down Bill 2. Until that legislation is tabled, we can't report on the details. One of the delays had to do with the 1-hour time limit on each stage of the legislation the UCP wanted to place on the debate. It's a move critics have called undemocratic, and the NDP opposed it. The time limit has now passed with UCP support, but the NDP is filibustering, so the legislation still hasn't been tabled. The UCP's plan was to get it passed tonight, but it could be a late one given the way things are unfolding so far. Teachers have been on strike for 3 weeks. Class sizes and classroom complexity are the main sticking points. The Alberta Federation of Labour has been hinting a province-wide general strike may happen if the province invokes the notwithstanding clause, something the Premier talked about in her radio show on the weekend. The province wants students back in the classroom at some point this week. We'll continue to follow the developments, and we'll have the latest coming up on the CTV News at 6.
Kevin, thanks very much. And the Alberta Federation of Labour says if back-to-work legislation is passed and the UCP government invokes the notwithstanding clause to override court challenges, it would be unprecedented in Canadian history. A province-wide general strike is one of the things actively under consideration. The president of the AFL, who is also the chair of Common Front, a larger group of Alberta unions, says a meeting will be held tomorrow to decide how they will respond.
We will rise to this moment. We will rise to this challenge. Not only will we do everything we can to support teachers from these bully tactics from our government, but we understand that the labor movement has a unique obligation to stand up for civil society, to stand up for people who are vulnerable, and to defend our democracy.
The Alberta Federation of Labour is an umbrella group representing 24 unions in the public and private sector. That includes 175,000 Alberta workers. Common Front includes 400,000 workers. A recount of votes for Calgary Mayor is underway. Sonia Sharp formally requested a recount because there are just 581 votes between her and current Mayor-elect Jeremy Farkas. The rules state the recount will have to be completed by noon on Wednesday. Sharp's team is also preparing for the possibility of a judicial recount should it come to that. The new mayor and council will be sworn in on Wednesday night. Organizers of the Forever Canadian petition will be dropping off boxes of signatures tomorrow. The forms are filled with names of Albertans who support remaining in Canada. The grassroots movement has had 90 days to collect just under 300,000 signatures. Forever Canadian organizers will reveal their total tomorrow morning. Alberta's chief electoral officer has a month to certify the results. Food Banks Canada has released its 2025 hunger count, showing a growing crisis across the country, and our city is no exception. Tyler Barrow joins us from the Food Bank. And Tyler, how does Calgary stack up against the rest of the country?
Ian, data shows food bank visits in Canada have doubled since 2019, which Food Banks Canada is warning is normalizing poverty and hunger. Here at the Calgary Food Bank in 2019, it distributed around 200 hampers a day. Now it's closer to 800. A survey done by the Food Bank here in Calgary found 27% of clients are working full-time. Seniors facing food insecurity is also on the rise. 68% of seniors surveyed who now use the Calgary Food Bank are facing food insecurity for the first time in their lives. Across the province, over 210,000 people visit the food bank monthly, while nearly 76,000 are children.
We continue to be supported by community, but one can't help but think this is not sustainable. We have seen increases in need for service across the board for 5 years, and at a certain point, this is going to break. We can't continue to support this number of people as a society.
Across the country, food bank visits hit nearly 2.2 million monthly. Now, coming up at 6, we'll hear from the university's food banks and how they are dealing with the high youth unemployment rate in the province. Ian?
Thank you very much, Tyler. One local business is working to ensure children in need have a Halloween costume. The Astra Group has donated 150 costumes to Radiance Family Society, an organization dedicated to helping families fleeing domestic violence. Astra says most of the costumes are donated by their staff, but the general public pitches in too. They began this initiative 4 years ago as a way to help families struggling to afford some extras.
I think when it comes to families in need, sometimes there's a lot of difficult decisions to be made, and if we can make it easier by simply removing one of those decisions, giving something to help out a little bit, put smiles on the kids' faces and ensure they don't feel left out.
Since its inception, Astra has donated 500 costumes to various charities. Some very, very generous people in this city. Really nice to see, to help out people who need it.
Yeah.
The thing I noticed today, strong wind outside. It really cooled things off.
Strong wind and certainly cooler temperatures. I mean, on Friday we hit 20 degrees and then we gradually cooled, as we talked about, for the weekend. And yeah, it's a bit on the chilly side, and we even have wind chill to talk about, believe it or not, for tonight and tomorrow morning. Okay, yep. 7 degrees is that temperature at the airport. It is gusting out of the west-northwest at 44 kilometers per hour. That's the gust registering right now. And we could pick up to 50 kilometers per hour over these next couple of hours. So before things quiet down for the overnight hours, it could get a little gustier. Now, the difference is the winds are shifting. Instead of just out of the northwest, they're starting to shift and come out of the west. But we'll also lose all the clouds tonight. So that's any blanket to hold in the heat, which is why temperatures will be dropping off. So we're looking at -2 overnight with a wind chill of -6. And then in the morning around 7, 8 in the morning with the wind chill, it will feel more like -5. And we have a single-digit high for tomorrow with mainly sunny skies. That's your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thAvVW.com. Ian?
Thanks, Danielle. It's a breakthrough in the treatment of a common skin condition. Still to come, the local dermatologist who led the study into a cream that addresses eczema. And the search for a fraud suspect after an incident at Calgary's Central Library. Also, if you have a news tip, text us at 10400. A man accused of defrauding a person at Calgary's Central Library is facing an additional charge and is still on the run. Calgary police have laid an additional fraud charge against Man-Suk Choi. Investigators say a victim was approached at Calgary's Central Library in September, and the two bonded over their shared Korean heritage. The suspect claimed his wallet and ID had been stolen. The victim gave him $1,000 in cash and $500 worth of gift cards. The wire transfer from the suspect was fraudulent. Police suspect there may be other victims. Anyone with more information is asked to contact Calgary Police. Canada Border Services Agency officers have stopped a massive shipment of cocaine at the Coots border crossing. The CBSA says 77 kilograms of cocaine was found in a commercial truck when it crossed from the U.S. on September 25th. That has an estimated street value of $7 million. The truck driver, 28-year-old Serge Singh Solaria from Calgary, faces a number of charges. A garage in northeast Calgary sustaining significant damage from fire this morning. It started around 5:30 on Rundleson Way. Nobody was injured. No word yet if the garage or any of its contents are salvageable. The investigation into the cause is underway. All right, you're getting serious when you're talking about wind chill.
Wind chill, yeah. Tomorrow morning, -5, -6 is what it will feel like. We haven't had it feel like that at 8 a.m. in quite a while.
Have to get used to it.
But, you know, the afternoon will be nice, bright, and right on seasonal. So, hey, you know, not so bad. Just be prepared for your morning. That's all. All right, here's some cloud cover that is pushed in. We also have some blue sky. It's also certainly on the windy side right now. We'll talk about winds in just a second, but here's what it's doing to temperatures. So that's a cooler wind that we've had today, predominantly out of the northwest. We're at 7 degrees right now in Calgary, just 3 in Banff and Pincher Creek, and single digits, Drumheller, Brooks, over to Lethbridge, just around that 8 mark. Now, Medicine Hat, one of the very few places in southern Alberta sitting in those double digits, just barely though. Okay, windy, yes, it's been a windy day, 59 kilometers per hour. This is the maximum wind gust that we saw for today in Pincher Creek, 59 for Lethbridge, and 37 for Medicine Hat, 46 for Calgary. We are looking at it calming down for Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and Calgary tomorrow, so closer to about 20-30 kilometers per hour. But Pincher Creek, you're still looking at that 50 to 60 range for tomorrow. We also have some showers that have been pushing through. Again, a lot of this is evaporating before it hits the ground, so that's virga, and that creates a little bit of a windier condition at the surface, which is why the winds are picking up in some places. And in some places, the rain is actually falling. This is going to last on and off through parts of the south for the next hour or two, and then it's going to be out of the way. But we're not looking at really any significant moisture accumulation from this at all, and it's very short-lived. So as you can see, overnight, this really does clear out. This sets us up for a whole lot of sunshine throughout the day for tomorrow. So mainly sunny tomorrow. Winds for most communities calmer tomorrow. Will still be mainly in those single-digit highs for most communities, but overall, really nice day. Then we see this push in for Wednesday. So along the mountain tops and even into Pincher Creek, Rosas Pass, you're looking at the potential of some mixed precipitation on Wednesday in the morning hours. And then in central Alberta and then really east of the QE2, some rain will push in Wednesday afternoon. For Calgary, we're on the edge of that, so we have the small chance of seeing any sort of raindrops, certainly some cloud cover from this on Wednesday. Thursday, things start to clear out. All right, let's look at that longer range forecast. We're going to start with Lethbridge because Lethbridge community is joining us for today. 11 degrees for the high for tomorrow and still in those double digits for Wednesday. Just you'll likely see more cloud cover on Wednesday. Then we dip to 8 degrees on Thursday. Check out that overnight low of -4. That means a cold start to Friday. Friday, though, Halloween day, lots of sunshine, and so far we're looking at a high of 11, and I will continue to keep you posted. 9 degrees in Calgary for tomorrow with a whole lot of sunshine. Again, cool to start the day. And then on Wednesday, more cloud cover, small chance of an isolated shower, 12 degrees. Looking ahead to Halloween, small chance of showers, certainly some cloud cover during the day, and at this point we're looking at a high of 7, so it's a bit on the cooler side for sure. I'll continue to keep you posted as we get closer.
The province says 20 people have been tested for avian flu after an outbreak at Butterfield Acres. 10 of those referred for testing are children. Earlier this month, there were 9 confirmed cases of avian flu at the Calgary Petting Zoo. Officials will not confirm how many birds have been culled. Butterfield Acres will remain closed until health officials deem it safe to reopen. Anyone who visited the farm between October 6th and 12th is asked to watch for symptoms of avian flu. Of the 20 people tested so far, 18 have come back negative. Results for the other 2 are pending. A new topical cream recently approved by Health Canada is bringing relief to Albertans struggling with eczema, including young children who've been waiting for better treatment options. The ointment called Opzelura is now approved for use in children as young as 2. The new treatment targets mild to moderate atopic dermatitis, also known as eczema, a chronic skin condition that causes redness, dryness, and intense itching. Calgary dermatologist Dr. Aleem Devani helped lead a clinical trial of 350 patients across North America that showed significant improvement after just 8 weeks of treatment.
It creates a lot of excitement for patients, but also the parents, because they're also frustrated with the disease. Their child isn't sleeping, they're constantly itching, they have psychosocial or psychological impacts to the disease. So giving a new novel treatment that is highly effective is a huge step forward.
The Eczema Society of Canada says Alberta has a much higher than usual rate of eczema because of its dry climate that can worsen flare-ups. This new treatment hopes to provide more options to help manage the condition safely and effectively. More job losses are coming in the energy sector. Just ahead, why some remain optimistic despite the cutbacks. GDP numbers show Canada's economy is shrinking. Joining me is Liana Wachniak, investment advisor with the Popwich-Carmeli Advisory Group. And Liana, more signs that the Canadian economy is struggling.
That's right. We got the latest GDP data from Stats Can today, and that showed the GDP contracting by just about 0.4% over the second quarter of 2025. Now, this follows 6 consecutive quarters of growth, but is largely being attributed to some of those additional costs and pressures placed by the tariff situation that the Canadian economy is currently working with. So that is really what's behind these particular numbers. Now, an interesting part of these numbers is that we might not get such a clean GDP read for the next few prints, because a lot of our data depends actually on the U.S. Census Bureau, and because that is currently closed because the U.S. government is shut down, Stats Can has said that they're not getting the level of trade data or the detail of trade data that they typically would. So our numbers for the next few quarters might be a little bit more of an estimate than they typically are.
Meantime, some big job cuts at Amazon. Enough people to fill McMahon Stadium.
That's right. 30,000 potential layoffs are being reported by Amazon starting tomorrow. Now, that is a small fraction of their 1.55 million employees globally, but these 30,000 cuts would come from the corporate jobs at Amazon, of which there are about 350,000. So this would be roughly a 10% reduction in their staff there. Now, this looks like it will be departments like human resources, operations, devices, services, those sorts of things. So some of the head office roles, and not necessarily the people on the ground delivering packages or working in the warehouses. But it's an interesting streamlining that Amazon seems to be doing when it comes to their services. Now, the market did appreciate this particular move. We saw their shares jump up over 1% today, and we'll see how it plays into their overall outlook when we get their earnings results later this week.
Liana, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
Canada's oil and gas sector is seeing job cuts, but there remains a sense of optimism from within, despite a frosty relationship with the U.S. In September, 204,000 people were employed in the energy sector, 138,000 of them here in Alberta. Last week, U.S.-based ConocoPhillips announced it would be laying off staff in Calgary to be more efficient with the resources it has. 950 employees work for the company in Canada, and American company Sunoco is wrapping up a deal to buy Calgary-based Parkland for more than $12.5 billion this Friday.
I think initially there were some concerns that we're letting an American company come in and acquire possibly strategic assets of the Burnaby refinery and some of the gas stations that we have here. But there were commitments made by Sunoco in a way that they would maintain investment in the refinery and also maintain the headquarters and jobs in Calgary.
And Cenovus Energy's takeover of Meg Energy also appears poised to win shareholder approval later this week. The UCP government plans to strengthen protections for students at private vocational training colleges. The legislation to be introduced in the current session of the legislature will ensure private colleges won't take advantage of students, including international students who pay much higher tuition rates. Private vocational colleges often teach skills such as truck driving, medical office skills, and hairstyling. The legislation will also cut down on false and misleading recruitment practices. The province says these changes will line up with other provinces. The province is tabling back-to-work legislation. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. The UCP plans to pass the new law quickly, though, are being stalled. The NDP continues to filibuster in protest over the time limit for debate. 3 hours into today's legislative session, the back-to-work bill still has not been tabled. Join us at 6 for the very latest. Also ahead, hunger is a growing problem in Alberta. Coming up, we'll hear from clients of the Calgary Food Bank who are relying on the service for the first time in their lives. Ian.
Thanks, Tara. The 2026 Calgary Stampede First Nations Princess was crowned this weekend.
Reagan, first rider.
19-year-old Reagan First Rider is from the Kainai Nation. First Rider was one of 7 contestants and says she's been inspired by all the past princesses and is proud and honored to have been selected. She plans to spend her reign being a voice for her people and advocating for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Well, our weather is definitely cooling off. We even have a wind chill to speak of overnight. Right now, it is 7 degrees in Calgary under a mostly cloudy sky. Danielle has details coming up. It's that time of year when the wardrobe changes just a little bit. You got to bundle up just a little bit more, but it's not the full parka kind of thing yet.
Right, and it helps to keep everything in your closet right now for very cold, like a wind chill of -5 or 6, for example, which is what it will feel like tomorrow morning. Right now it's 7 degrees. A normal daytime high for this time of year is 8. Our high today was 7. We're around where we should be. We'll be a little warmer for tomorrow at 9. That will come with a lot of sunshine. Winds will be relatively calm, but as we said, the morning around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're looking at a wind chill of about -5, -6. Mainly cloudy for Wednesday. Small chance of an isolated shower. That will be one of the warmer ones at 12. 9 for Thursday. And just looking ahead to Halloween, just preliminary, a high of 7, mainly cloudy skies.
Thanks, Danielle. While computer coding is all the rage, the ancient art of cursive is going through a resurgence, and it's drawing a crowd in Calgary. This is the Western Canada Calligraphy Conference. It offers 4 days of hands-on workshops and demonstrations designed to spark creativity and refine artistic skill in this centuries-old practice. Nearly 100 people from around the world are taking part. It's the first year for the event, and several attendees are grateful, saying they're avoiding traveling to the United States, where the international conference takes place each year. It's more than pretty lettering. Calligraphers say it's therapeutic to turn off technology.
It is so entraining. It's very relaxing. It's very calming. You create absolutely beautiful things that are really rooted in historical art forms.
Well, it's a hobby for many. Some artists have established successful careers instructing and creating designs for fashion labels, celebrities, and royalty. Anyone interested can attend the whole conference or just a day or two. It runs October 27th to the 30th at Hotel Blackfoot. Plans for 2026 Western Canada Calligraphy Conference are already in the works. Well, thank you for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.